Today we're having another conversation with Vinh from Focus Asia Pacific, and Vinh will tell us about his experience dating in Vietnam. So we're going to be talking about how to find a girlfriend, how to find a long-term partner in Vietnam. Vinh, are you ready for this conversation with us?
Sounds good. I'm ready, Gerry.
Fill us in a little bit here because there are some people that are looking for this info because we are hearing a lot of things about Vietnam and that it's a little bit more difficult to date long term in Vietnam. I actually shouldn't say it's more difficult to date long term, it's more difficult to date short term. Let's say I'm a guy, I want to go to Vietnam and I want to find myself a long-term girlfriend, like a wife. Where do I go? What are some of the best places where I can find these women? Where are these women at?
Sure. Right off the bat, Gerry, it is challenging for most foreign men to break into the Vietnamese dating scene. And I say that for a couple of reasons. One is there's a cultural hurdle to understand. Western and Eastern or even Vietnamese culture is vastly different expectations, etc. And then two is you got the language barrier. If you come to Vietnam, not everybody, not the whole population will speak Vietnamese well. The younger population, yes, and in big cities, you'll do a lot better. But so those are the two kind of hurdles. Now, how would a foreign guy meet a Vietnamese woman? There are a couple different ways. I would say informal and formal networks. So you can get to Vietnam and meet someone and date through Tinder is a good place to start if you want to meet different types of women very quickly, and if you want to go on a date and things like that. So that would be
Right.
The first method is online dating. And then if you're looking for more quality girl, long-term commitment, I think you'd have to find that through your network, and friends of friends would introduce you to someone as long as they got to get to know you, know about you, what you do. And I think that would be the biggest way to meet someone.
But what about educated women? Let's say you're a guy and you are looking for an intelligent woman. Where do those women hang out? You know, if you're a guy looking to date such a woman, where would you go? Are those women available on Tinder?
Sure. My recommendation is any of the business networking or even the social networking events in Saigon, since I'm here. So there's the AmCham, American Chamber of Commerce, AustCham, the Australian Chamber of Commerce. There's the European Chamber of Commerce, and I think the Hong Kong Business Networking membership. So those are just four types of networks that you could join that you would meet like-minded young Vietnamese women that have studied abroad, perhaps, that have that know one or two different languages, that have worked abroad possibly. So they are congregating, they're coming to these events to meet people like you, foreigners. So I think that would be one of my biggest suggestion is through those networks. And then the other way is Tao Dien, as we talked about before, is the foreign expat community. So if you were to be based here and you joined a cycling club, a paddling club, or an entrepreneurship meetup every month, or some kind of lunch meetup, I think if you were to give it a couple of months, you would make some progress, because if you come to these events, you meet some friends of friends, you go out, and then people know your situation and they make recommendations, and then you're attracting Vietnamese women that aren't afraid of foreigners, and they want to meet foreigners because, like I said, they've studied abroad, they've lived overseas, and they want to make international friends, or they're comfortable with that. So that's another way to do that.
I like the advice that you are giving here because it's so much easier to date a woman that already speaks English than a woman who doesn't, because you pretty much have to educate her, right? You have to teach her a lot more. then like you pointed out, if you find a Vietnamese girl that's been abroad, that's like studied abroad in Canada, the US, I think that's easier for a guy, you know, that wants to shorten his learning curve. So I definitely like that information. Now it takes more time to build trust with a Vietnamese woman. You know, they are not as much into short-term dating than other Asian women are. So what would you recommend for a guy that just arrived newly in Vietnam? Let's say they don't have the experience, you know, they don't know the main question. I mean, they don't know the answer to the main question, which is how do I build trust with my Vietnamese woman? Let's say they found a person that they think they like, but they find it a little bit challenging to get closer because, as
Mhm.
you pointed out, there are cultural barriers, you know,
Mhm.
language barriers potentially, right? Let's say it's me, right? Let's say it's Gerry. What would you suggest that I do in order to shorten that learning curve and to shorten that trust building curve and to have success sooner rather than later? What would you advise me to do?
Well, yeah, that's a good question. One way I could turn around that question is you got to ask what makes you attractive to a woman. And I think right off the bat, you have some interest in extracurriculars. You're physically fit. Maybe you go to the gym. You enjoy cycling. You enjoy other types of hobbies and types of events. So I would recommend focusing on yourself. So Gerry, if you were to come to Saigon, I would say, what are you interested? Whether it's crypto, whether it's online business, whether it's working out at the gym 3 times a week, you can join a lot of these like-minded clubs, and so from there, women like guys that are confident, right? They got a life, they got something going for them. They're working on their business. They're very active. So that's the type of attraction that our people, the Vietnamese women would be attracted to. So once you get that up, you're busy, making money, you've got a career or a business, and then you got these extracurricular activities. And then once you meet the woman, I think it's just naturally that if you join a group and then she's in that group, she can start to get to know you and to meet you or see you often. And then she can tell if you're a good person, she can tell if you're trustworthy. And then I think just to leave it at that, the first couple of meetings that you see each other. And then if you're interested in her, then definitely pursue her in terms of getting her Facebook details or her Zalo phone number. And then from there, you can maybe take things slow. Don't put too much pressure on yourselves. And then just maybe say, hey, how are you doing? Maybe chit chat once in a while here or there. And then again, if you see her and you do like her after a few weeks and months, then maybe you can ask her out at a nice cocktail bar in Tao Dien or to some kind of dinner. Vietnamese women like that. And then keep it, friendly without too much pressure. I think from there, yeah, you can both kind of navigate and tell if you guys can go further.
So you are suggesting a much slower approach that will work over time versus just rushing into it very quickly and hoping for the best. That's how I understood it. And of course, if you want to date long term, that's usually the right way to do it, because if it takes more work to get the woman aboard, you probably have more quality anyway. So I kind of like that. So you heard it, guys. It's about you being physically attractive enough. It's about you showing that you are a good guy, and you show that by not changing your girlfriend every single week or month, because they will see that, right? If you hang out at the same places all the time, they will see that easily, right? So I kind of like how you pointed that out. Now, there's obviously a lot of things that Vietnamese women love and hate. So I wanted to ask you, like, what are some of the big do's and don'ts for a Western guy looking to have success in the Vietnamese dating world? What can they do? What should they do? What can they do? What shouldn't they do? Just a few things on each side, maybe you can point out.
Sure. Just generally speaking, Vietnamese women are going to like the guy that's fit, that takes care of himself, that dresses nicely, doesn't look like a slob. wearing like tennis shoes and shorts and a ripped t-shirt and going out or something like that all the time. So as you can tell, the Vietnamese dress up a little bit more than we in America or in the West, I would say, when they go out. The women definitely, they wear high heels, and they're just in beautiful attire. So hygiene's important, being kind of clean cut, and then that type. So I would say women are attracted to that, and obviously, the elephant in the room is a man has to be somewhat established. There is truth to that women find the more net worth you are, the more attractive you look into their eyes. If it's unfair or not, but that's just the reality of it. So
Right.
if you're more established, you've got a business going on, you're going to attract much more higher quality woman. And then again, if you play the part of dressing pretty decent, whether it be nice jeans, dress shoes, and dress shirt going out, that's kind of the look that women would definitely appreciate. I would say if you're confident and you're a gentleman, that's going to be much more attractive to a woman. Also, definitely if you can make her laugh. Women love guys that are funny and then are a little bit cocky, arrogant in a way, but are quite decisive. They like leadership. So they love it when you say, hey, no, we're going to go out to this restaurant tonight and we're going to do this, instead of like, what should we do tonight? And then go back and forth and back and forth. So they want the guy to be more decisive and like I said, be more of a leadership role and be funny. So I think those three things are key. What they don't like in a guy I mentioned earlier is more dressing like a slob, or is a little bit lazy, doesn't have much going for himself, may not have goals, may not have life goals, so to speak, and then it's just kind of just living in Vietnam day by day, getting by. That's probably not going to
Right.
be too attractive. So I would say those attributes to definitely focus on. So yeah, the one most important thing is focus on yourself. Be active, take up sports or whatever your passion is, and then keep busy. And then the other important thing to remember is don't come across desperate. So
Right.
women, as you know, are like cats. They can sense anything. So if you're desperate and you're like a girl and you keep on calling her and she's the only one in your life, that's a real turnoff to a woman. She's not going to go for that. So don't go down that route where you sending her flowers every day and you say she's the only one for you. Women are turned off by that. So I've even gone through that period, where I showed my interest in someone, she didn't like me, and as soon as I was not interested in her and I pursued other women, then she was interested in me. So go figure.
Yeah, that's so true. That's so true. Don't be desperate ever. That just does not work. So, well, one final tip that you have for us, maybe?
I would say uh, if you're coming across Vietnam and Vietnamese women, you're on the right track. I can't think of another country or uh, you know, I think Vietnamese women are top notch in terms of dating and then family oriented. I would say in the world, I being in Vietnam these last 4 years, the Vietnamese women are some of the most beautiful I've ever seen. Very elegant, very feminine, family oriented. They work hard. They're very loyal. They take care of themselves. And so if you're just coming across Vietnamese women, I highly recommend that you can continue to explore, learn more, and then eventually come to Vietnam, because I think you'll be pleasantly surprised.
So you would say be open-minded and hardworking should seal the deal.
Yes. And then, yeah, I think what we talked about, those attributes to work on, and then you should be fine.
Thank you for your time, Vin. I always appreciate it.
You bet, Gerry.
Consider subscribing if you haven't already. I'm uploading new videos on digital nomad locations, travel updates, and investment advice several times a week right now. And if you got some more time left, check out these videos.